Express worries. What is delaying rehabilitation of Sonara? That's a big question you can find as a lead story of the paper, The Median, for this day. And in that said paper, it says Army's Headquarters Brigade Yaoundé military personnel awarded distinction new epaulette. Moving forward with this other one on questionable choices, critics slam 2024 Miss Cameroon pageant, and they meet the people tour. My SDO treated to princely welcome in Tinto or in Upper Banyang subdivision. And this said paper reports on preserving age-old tradition. Boya Mountain Club votes new management committee. Away from that paper of Stephen Ojong, we move on to Eugene's the newspaper, that is Newswatch. Newswatch, another publication from Yaoundé for this morning, talks of sign of resilience or resignation battle. You can find on that said paper for today. Antique establishes task force to curb on rising online child abuse, while Limbe City Council embarks on fresh modernization drive of the town. We move forward with Donga Mantong Division. Elekam Kambe uses football to boost voters registration, and lifestyle, how to make your crush fall in love with you. Get to read details on that paper on Tiaritia Guy. Talks of performance, the Kribi port. That is what you can find as a lead story of Mutation and the CEMAC zone. Cameroon champions inflation across CEMAC member countries. Accident, another deadly accident, this time around from Sancho town in the Menua division of the West region, as some persons died yesterday after one of the inter. From that sad story, we crossed over with Luju. Luju for today talks of the Southwest region, the good performance of the custom sector that reopens hope for the economic domain in the Southwest region. That is what the paper of Hamad Mana have for us as late story. And in that said paper, the paper comes back to Fukalitus Gentry, who gave who is set for the inauguration of this simple company. You want to find more on that said paper for this morning. And Goshu Gashi and Grace Ngole qualifies for the JOs. Get to read details on that publication for today. The message here of Pius Njawi talks of presidential elections 2025, the betting of the electors, soldiers. That is what you can find on the message for this day. And that said, Le Messager too joins Cameroon Tribune newspaper to celebrate her golden jubilee as she clocked 50 yesterday in Yaoundé. Get to read more on how that celebration went there at the headquarters of Cameroon Tribune. Obituary, the paper talks of the life and death of Boto Angon. You want to find more on that said paper for today. And Syncom, it says the affair of Acid Mofo. You want to get the details on the bottom page story of Le Messager for this morning. From Le Messager, we take you to municipal updates of Victor Cham for today. It talks of at Fiat 2024 in Casablanca. Minister Paul Sasson connects over 200 enterprises to explore opportunities. In that said paper, Far North, OCHA prepares effective flood response plan, and that's we'll move over to at working visit to Simpo Cement Factory. Interim Minister of Mines Technology Fukalitus Gentry set stage for historic inauguration. Visit of the Bilingualism Commission to the Limbe Seaport and other state organizations there in the town. The paper talks of to promote use of official languages. We move away from the paper of municipal updates of Victor for this morning. We turn to the paper of Landi Josa, The Voice. The Voice for today talks of Symposium Plan Commissioning. Minister Fukalitus Gentry prepares for grand inauguration, regulates public quarries. And the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, known as NCPBM, prepares a breakthrough in Cameroon's fight against hate speech and xenophobia. And moving forward with Moonlight, the paper talks of Moonlight Conversation. Keremuna tackles Mola and Wandongo to cry foul over exorbitant ID card fees. Get to read details on the paper of Ranji of The Voice for this day. From The Voice, we take you to the Parliamentary Affairs newspaper. Ikodu Parliament reports on the June session of Parliament. The Senate adopts Project Law number 226/PJL/SEN/3L and the Project Law number 222/PJL/SEN/3L. That is what you can find on the lead story of that said paper. And we remain with the Parliamentary Affairs newspaper this time around with the members of Parliament who are taken to the restroom to vent a preoccupation that is of their constituents are suffering from to the various members of government. You want to find details on that story for this day. Moving on to the next publication, this time around, we take you now to this other paper, Le Quotidien. Le Quotidien for this morning have as lead stories civil status. It says some 3,500 students, some 3,500 children in Dome has benefited from birth certificate, as they said 3,500 children were living without birth certificates. And away from that, the Olimbe wrote the paper report on the transporters who are denouncing on this set structure erected over there at the Olimbe stretch. Quotidian Economy for this morning report on the International Forum for African Development. It says, what do you make of the 7th edition that just took place in the North African nation of Morocco? You want to find more on that paper. For today, and Finance, COBAC, that's the Banking Commission for Central African States, authorizes BGFI Bank to get into Congo's market via Société Générale. Away from that publication, let's take you to Info Matin. Info Matin talks of the public administration. This time around, the Ministry of Mines and Technology and digital reforms that is being championed there by Interim Minister for Culture Gentry gets ready for the inauguration of a new office building space in the town of Yaoundé, as it is a 6-story tall building. Get to read more on that said paper. Ebolowa Afolan Mbango, it talks of the presidential coup Paul Biya, what they did to that community. Get to read details on that paper. The Guardian Post for this morning says 8 months after PM's firm instruction, road garbage disposal in Yaoundé is still shameful states. That is what you can find in that said paper for today. And in that said publication, Aloysius Mvombu talks of first Cameroonian chartered accountant to back PhD in forensic accounting and audit. To launch 50th anniversary celebration of Cameroon Tribune newspaper, Minister of Communication Rene Emmanuel Sadi hails Cameroon Tribune for professionalism and resilience for the past 50 years that she has been publishing non-stop. Professor Teresa Nko Akenji unveils a Grotto project in memory of parents. You want to find more on that paper of the Guardian Post for this day. Moving forward with Financier d'Afrique for this morning talks of public command, the difficulties of small and medium-sized enterprises to access the public market following the exclusive interview given there by the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of public contracts. That is Ibrahim Taba Mala. We move away from that story to CNCCC. It talks of the obstacles of development in inter-African states. You want to find more on that paper for today. From that publication of Financier d'Afrique, we move on to another economic newspaper, Eco News for this morning talks of the Douala Port Authority, who celebrates excellence as she engages with more interesting partners in order to boost her activities. You want to find more on that engagement that has been championed by the Director General of Douala Port Authority, Cyrus Ngor, on that paper for today. And Jimmy Pay talks of personnel of GMEC school gets more clearance and more education on AI, that is artificial intelligence. Tepromi Hebdo talks of Professor Koncho Komini still on. That is what you can find on the former Minister of Communication, Koncho Komini, who was then Minister of Communication in the 90s. We'll get to read details on him on Tepromi Hebdo newspaper. And Lende Pandang for today talks of collusion or mafia collusion. You want to find more on that paper of Camvet and the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife. Moving forward with Douala Port Authority, who engages with Amato, an importer, and the paper talks of 2 billion CFA francs has been gained as a result of this partnership that has been engaged by the Douala Port Authority. There's info I show for this morning talks of this training of youngsters by OEM in order for them to get the adequate skills that await them for the future. And the paper says Ambazonia, it's a fake generous, it's fake, that is a fake, it's a fake news that a certain general was stoned to death, according to that paper for today. Oh, that is a fake general. This is a fake general stoned to death when it comes to the Anglophone crisis. Get to read more on that paper for today. We take you now to the Nigerian tablet. We start with This Day. This Day talks of This Day reports why Nigeria needs new presidential jet, and Cardoso, non-bank financial institution key to regional integration, economic stability. Daily News Hub for this morning reports on 2027 elections. Wike takes on Abuja's only senator, vows to unseat her, and Northerners serving in Tinubu's government now mere cheerleaders. Ex-APC vice who speaks on that. And Bono bombing in north-central Nigeria, death toll rises to 32 as Shetima pays condolence visits to the survivors. In First News, another Abuja tabloid talks of rivalry intensifies. Wike vows to unseat Senator King Ibe in 2027. And moving over to custom intercept arms ammunition drugged from Turkey worth 4 billion naira. And Shehu Sani wants on Tinubu's avoid Buhari's nepotic appointment mistakes. Get to read more on that Nigerian who is talking on the nepotic appointments that is still unfolding after Buhari's tenure expired. The Matrix newspaper reports on Borno horrific bombing. It says death toll surges, and in that paper, Nigerian forensic investment inflow rises by 210% to $3.37 billion in the first quarter of 2024. The Nation for this morning says 1 million applicants to seek 1.3 trillion naira consumer credit loan, and customers impounds 844 rifles and 11,500 ammunition drugs. Get to read more on that paper for today. Daily Independent for this morning's talks of fight against terrorism must be total, uncompromising, according to ACF. Nigerian police force wasn't established to succeed, according to Senate leader Godswill Akpabio, who talks on that paper on the bottom page story. We move on to federal government debunks reports of explosion at Zongari power plant and on main aerial vehicle, not helicopter crash. NAF clarifies. The Punch for this morning, Dangote fuel, it says marketers fear high price petrol ahead of supply. And federal government revokes 870 billion naira road contracts. Some 2,270 projects suffered delay, and Kanu plan appeal after losing 1 trillion naira suit against the federal government. We move forward with New Telegraph for this day. Talks of declare total uncompromising war on Boko Haram criminal elements. ACF tells federal government, and Wike candidate faced off. You won't come back in 2027. Ex-governor of Rivers State. Get to read details on that. Nigerian News Direct is the last paper for this morning. Says federal government terminates road contracts over alleged non-performance in the said paper. Banditry. Ogun police confirms attack on Sangobo Ijobu Olade Benin Road, and federal government to inaugurate governing council institution slated for July 4, 2024. And in that said paper, the paper talks of we are on track to achieve 70% local content penetration according to the NCDMB and ESC. You want to find more on that paper for this morning. Let's take a bow out of the studio with Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune, the national print from Abuja for this morning, have as lead story. It says Borno bombing, death toll now at 32. Wike Kibede in war of words, and Trump has some immunity for official acts. U.S. Supreme Court rules. And in that said paper of Nigerian Tribune, Customs seizes 844 rifles, as some 111,500 ammunitions were seized in Rivers State. Federal government terminates Ojabena Benin road contracts. With Nigerian Tribune newspaper, this is what we'll be putting a pause on the first segment of the program. But to normal for Muscle, our reviewer is here, as he will be joining us in a jiffy. Hello there, if you are just joining us, you are on to Press Brief, and on this program we zoom into the various papers. And now joining us to talk on this matters, our reviewer for this morning is a journalist by excellence. I'm talking on Che Buzi, who joins me now live on the studio. Good morning to you, Buzi, and welcome.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning to all viewers of High Tele. Once again, this is back to other corporations like CDC, PAMO. We've seen for the past years of the crisis, they've been vastly attacked, such that banana farms have been left without caterers, rubber plantations have been abandoned, palm plantations have been abandoned. All of these things, by the time we want to go back to say maybe peace should reign, or these corporations should go back into full business, it would take a lot of years before this whole rehabilitation process comes about, because usually those plantains, they always ensure that a certain number of suckers were under, they remove the exceeding ones, they cater for it, but all of those things have been abandoned, such that if we want to do business again there, it needs to take a lot of years, because it's like planting all over again, and it's a whole process.
Rebuilding from the scratch. All right, so we move away from that sonorous situation. Let's take you to the Miss Cameroon 2024. This one has been raising a lot of eyebrows on the choice of the Miss Cameroon 2024. Questionable choices. Critics slams 2024 Miss Cameroon beauty pageant, as many of the critics say the lady in question is not beautiful, and she does not portray the attributes of a miss, as she's just limited in just a language, one of the official language. The other one, she's as blank as the other. So these are some of the negative. These are some of the criticisms that are being slammed on the choice for Miss Cameroon 2024. How do you see the lady from the North region, Raisa and Jikang?
First of all, I should start by telling her congratulations.
Okay.
That's already been cast, so we can only Well, I want to as well think that to become a Miss, there are other considerations. It's not just about beauty.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. And over the years, Larry, a little deviation before I come back to the bone of contention. There's always been this question: what is the role of a Miss? Media, for example, because that's where most issues have been highlighted prominently today, of maybe gender violence and abuse and the rest. And personally, I don't see the Miss raising awareness issues. I'm not just talking maybe in one corner, in one village. I mean addressing the issue, because there's some issues with some human interest issues which cut across the nation and become a topic of discussion not only in that locality but across the country. But we don't see the
brand when it comes to international competitions like Miss Universe, Miss
and they're asking for our support.
That is when represent Cameroon.
Well, we have now a Miss Cameroon who's been elected. So I want going back to that, there are considerations which are being taken in before someone is elected Miss. There are various considerations, and there are various levels, because the finalists, I think they were up to about 24 who were selected right up to that final level. Just to tell you how much the screening had been, even though usually there are other things which happen in our context which do happen, but I want to think that apart from physical, it's more the way the person is able to sell themselves.
Okay.
Because you could have a good idea, you could know a lot of things, but you're unable to present it convincingly, adequately, and using all of that, and you'll not be able to be the Miss. But the person who is able might not be as intelligent as you are, but is able to present it in a captivating manner, knows the strategies, is able to win. Now, talking about her not being bilingual, I didn't follow the competition close to comment on that, but I think
that is just one of
that would be what
Universe Miss World. The main language, no matter the country that is hosting, being France, Portugal, countries that don't speak English, the main language there is English.
Yeah, and
in such competition,
let's just say maybe there were other criteria which she was able to meet up to, and it's not too late. I think she can go begin taking some lessons. It will be a great help.
Okay, and good luck to her then. And so we move forward with the paper Luju of One Manor reports on the Southwest region. The good performance of the custom sector in the Southwest region to boost the economic resumption of the Southwest region. That is what you can find on the
practices. It's good to see. And Larry, this is where a lot of money lies in the customs sector, because we're looking at things coming, and the Southwest region is strategically positioned both in terms of maritime, that's the sea, then through the land, which is bordering Nigeria, and it's a country and Equatorial Guinea as well, that's through the ocean. It's Nigeria for in the first place is a country which has a lot, and business between
this is your tax, and they go as far as above the tax. It's quite low.
Yeah, especially with the presence for them to continue doing the good work for the country.
All right, we move away from that paper. Let's take you to The Voice. The Voice of Randy Joseph for this morning talks of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, headed by Peter Mafani Musonge, talks of claims breakthrough in Cameroon's fight against hate speech, xenophobia. What do you suffer? Who speaks to the
very interesting. These psychological battles, these verbal exchanges are causing us a lot of problems, and are even the things I have across the world, and as much as the conflicts we have in the country. To say the battle against xenophobia has been won, that's a pronouncement which is it's a big one to say. It's a big one to say, and I would want to believe that if the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism could come out with that remark, it means a lot of work. Many of us Cameroonians have been asking, what's that commission for? Is it just another set of civil servants who will be benefiting rich from government payroll. But to say they've been able to monitor and do sensitizations anyhow, somehow, and for us to see that hate speech is on the decline is what praising. Now, if they say so, I cannot argue. Since this year started,
all right. Let me take it from here.
Okay.
Let me take it from here. With the coming of the so-called Cold War or hot war between Fika Foods and the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education, we have seen on social media space xenophobia and hate speech is taking a different twist. We now have two appellations now in Cameroon: Les Zebu and Les Ecclesiens. So Les Ecclesiens, those are churchgoers who are Etofi's followers. Are ours. You can imagine ours, who are attributed to the followers of Narcissus Melancholy. So, and this thing is quite recurrent. If you go on that is still rising. That is, I don't know where Achichi Asafo is coming from. His findings.
Larry, I wanted to say it was on the decline. Then I thought a little back. A few months ago, we even had the minister who was saying, "What did you have before now?" All of that. So I wanted to do the comment, but for a moment I thought and I saw that this year we've been through a lot already. We've been quite a lot. So I don't know what mode was used to carry out. But if he says it's on a decline, so maybe it's a little better than it formerly was.
But nonetheless, that's his own opinion. Everybody is accountable to his own opinion. But you mustn't force your opinion onto us, claiming you are the SG of the Bilingualism Commission or whatsoever. Boss of the police department in Cameroon, Martin Brangangire, who says ID cards will be made available by the end of this year, 2025. Within the duration of 48 hours. So we have this presidential decree that had an increase of the fiscal stamp on ID cards. I think it used to be 2,500 before, but now it will be going to 10,000 francs CFA by the German enterprise known as Ogentic. The paper for today talks of moonlight conversation. Akere Muna tackles Mola and Wandong to cry foul over exorbitant ID cards fees.
The ID card situation is one which has attracted mixed reactions, Larry.
Okay.
For the past weeks on national tabloids, on the social media, we've had political activists come out, political actors, activists, and the rest come out to give different opinions on the issues. Now, the two sides, one is, I think it's a decentralized process such that it will be quickened. It won't take as much time as it formerly took. And that's an innovation. Others are on the other side. ID cards should even be free.
Okay.
And so he doesn't see a reason why the cost should be there. But Cameroonian, maybe living in, especially in the northwest and southwest region, hearing that there is something, a mechanism, in quotes, which is coming to make the production of ID cards faster, that finally, if at all, we would have ID cards available. But other issues around these call for concern. A German corporation doing Cameroonian ID cards. Don't we think that these are maybe confidential information which should be kept to at the level of the country? For it's too much for foreigners to know about us. These are other issues which I think should have been taken into cognizance before all of this process was undertaken. But now we've come so far into it, such that Cameroon and I do. The decrees have already been signed. Everything is already on motion.
The foundation stone of the various centers
it's been laid.
Yaoundé, Garo, and Douala has been laid.
So we can only wait and hope that the project is even realized in the given time frame, and it doesn't take a longer period than expected. I think this issue should have been considered, however, before the whole process was initiated.
All right, to move away from the ID card saga, according to that paper, we take you now to the Guardian Post of Christian Gar. For this morning, it says 8 months after PM's firm instructions, roads garbage disposal in Yaoundé is still in a shameful state. That is what the paper of Christian Gar have for us as lead story. Yaoundé roads deterioration and garbage heaps causing a lot of health hazards in the city of capital of Cameroon is something that's quite shameful, and according to that paper, not from my own perspective, but in my own perspective, is the same. So, what do you make of this after 8 months of the firm instruction of the this time not the head of state, of course, the Prime Minister, head of government, Dr. Joseph John Kuti, Yaoundé still finds herself in this the rotten state?
It's shameful, Larry. We're talking about the seat of power in Cameroon, that's the political capital of Cameroon, Yaoundé, and it's a reflection, because they say if gold can rust, what will iron do?
That is the question.
So if Yaoundé can be in this state, the paper has a picture of two major potholes. That's not even a pothole. That's a mini river or lake in the city.
You.
So you can in other towns across Boya and other towns across can manage maybe the garbage, for example, because the roads don't tell us it's this road is been put under the ministry. This one is under the government. This and all
it's
of
under
that.
the private. It's under the church.
But we
so
know for garbage,
they just keep on, taking Cameroonians for a ride. I must tell you, I was in Abuja. That was last. The planning of the town, the city. It's a city, of course. The planning of the city of Abuja. Talk less of people don't. There's no waste, shameful waste heaps across the Federal Capital Territory, as Nigerians call it, the Federal Capital Territory. It's quite marvel. It was quite like wow. It's not like, and here's the most shocking part. That city is the only city in Africa that does not have slums.
Doesn't have
slums.
Okay.
You can imagine. Johannesburg, Pretoria, and other African cities, they do, but Abuja doesn't. So, you see Cameroon, Nigeria had an independence 1st October 1960. French Cameroon had an independence 1st January 1960. Put them on a balance scale. It's the same thing with Cote d'Ivoire. If you go to Yamoussoukro, you'll be marveled. So, but what is happening with Cameroon? Is it a spell that was cast on this country, or perhaps those people in the set offices don't want to do the right thing?
It's a little tricky, Larry. We were looking at, to the best of my knowledge, this garbage disposal has to be managed by the city council. In the case of Yaoundé, the Yaoundé City Council. In other areas,
they have
would be the Boya Council, and so I think it goes down to the council, but it goes down to the city council, and I would be wondering, what could the problem really be? In Boya, they will tell us maybe Lisoka is no longer too safe, so the Execam or the Execam vehicles are unable to go down there to go dispose. So they are fighting with security issues. They can't go down there. I'm thinking about Yaoundé. Is it that because as well we should not forget that these corporations have been Execam, for example, is being paid by the council for the debt which it carries from the cities. Is it that the money is not there? Like during budget allocations, there is not enough money budgeted for waste disposal. Is it that there is mismanagement of money which has been budgeted for these expenses? Is it that Execam as a corporate which it has there? What about the aesthetics of the town? It's still put put below the line, and all of these raise issues because we have foreigners coming into the country every day. What do they think of Cameroon before they even think of what they think? How beneficial is this garbage heap to us as residents, or they as residents in this town? I think that the city council needs to sit up, because 8 months after, it means little or nothing. has been done, or perhaps when the Prime Minister gave the warning or the instruction, the City Council went out to do one or two things for the months, and then later on went back to slumber, because we've had such cases where they call it high instructions scam, and these officials seem to be so busy fixing things, but the moment everything calms down, the eyes of these officials or the population is no longer stayed to. They go back to what has been in the beginning. I want to think that, and this goes back to the local population. Who are the people we're voting to manage these areas? Nigeria, for example, it's true they are in a federal in a federal system, which is quite different from our system.
What
here.
Of Cote d'Ivoire?
We're
in the same system with Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, but then we have mayor. The city mayor, to the best of my knowledge, is elected. At the end of the day, to an extent, Larry, for the garbage, I would come to the roads, but for the garbage, I would blame, maybe to an extent, the population as much as I will blame the municipality.
What has the population got
the
to
population
do? Are they the ones responsible to be disposing heaps of garbage?
But the city mayor, whose jurisdiction or whose work this is been elected.
Look Messiah Tangana.
Is been elected by the population directly or indirectly.
No, by the councillors.
So by the councillors, and the councillors are elected by the population. That's why I said directly or indirectly. So it goes back to us. If we are not appreciative, I'm not in any way condoning with the state of affairs here. I've said it's of course wrong, but the other side of the coin is that the population should be able to decide their fate. This man has done this. During the next elections, let's try another person who would be able to do more, who would be able to bring the defense we want to see. Not that at the next elections we still go back, we vote the same person, maybe because we are members of a party and he's our candidate and all of that. So I think the population as well needs to rise and use their the ballot box through with their voter card to bring the change which they want and desire. Now going back to the roads, like we already stated, the roads have different areas which they are being put on. I remember when the mayor of Buea, in one of his outings, said, for example, the main road cutting through mile 16 through mile 17 going down to Kona and the rest is not under his jurisdiction. So he's not able to do renovation works maybe on that road like he could do
and
on
the road is quite
Mayor Street. Of course, especially at the mile 16 around the Baptist Church, just in front where the police control is. We have cars getting into very mighty holes, and I could imagine when rain falls heavily, how muddy, how a lot of water and all of that, and this as well has issues, causes issues on their vehicles. So I think the necessary authorities in charge of these roads, maybe the Minister of Transport, the Ministry of Transport should sit and try to structure and put back all these various authorities in charge of this road to figure out working on rehabilitating these roads, on making them back to good state and taste, such that the population can use them and feel at home and feel the love and the grandeur of the capital city, Larry.
Okay, we hope so, and we pray Luke Messiah Tangana, who happens to be the city mayor of Yaoundé, does something tangible, because his predecessor, Jibe Jimmy Ovona, did an exemplary work. Back then, Yaoundé wasn't this messy. I tell you, to drive even in the heart of where these ministries are located, Post Central, you still find yourself in potholes. so you can imagine. I remember my other sister was taking me to one of my place that I supposed to be there in her vehicle, and she took the other road. I said, "Why are you taking this other road?" She said, "No, the pothole that way is terrible, so I don't want to spoil my vehicle."
You can imagine.
So you can imagine. All right, we remember the Guardian Post. Still, the paper reports on the Tribune. The paper says Minister of Communication Rene Emmanuel Sadi hails Cameroon Tribune for professionalism, resilience for the past 50 years. 50 years is not 50 days, it's not 50 weeks, it's 50 years. And I use this opportunity to say a big shout out to our colleagues in Cameroon Tribune, most especially the Director General there, Marie Claire Nana, who has been doing a laudable job for the past 20 years now.
Larry, it's beautiful to see Cameroon Tribune at 50. Like you said, 50 years is not 50 days. There's really little much one can say, but we as well hope that a private press, as years go by, would have don't last that long. Will have strong institutions and would be able to be as resilient. And it's a big challenge, but most definitely it's worth it. And we would want to as well give a shout out to all the private press who've been keeping the flames alive regardless of the challenges. It's definitely not easy.
Sure.
But like I said, it's worth it.
All right, and so congratulations goes to Cameroon Tribune then. And just to add something, did you know the now Minister of Higher Education, Minister of State, Professor Jacques Famdongo used to be a worker of Cameroon Tribune?
No idea. I saw him at the event, and I just wondered.
Yeah, see, they coined the first publication of Cameroon Tribune,
Wow.
Aijo Ediretu. Aijo is back, and I followed the state media yesterday. He said they received a query from the presidency that you don't address the president as Aijo. I address him as Son Excellence Son de Ritu.
You see, there's always this clash, journalism clash.
That is it, and being in 1972 when 74 or 72, I think it's 74, 97. Yeah, 72 or 74. I can't.
It should be 76, it's 50.
Yes, 74, right? Yes,
this is 2024.
Yes, 1974. So you see how the journalism practice is still evolving and has evolved, and some say it's static. But no matter your point of view, we are still on. Well, away from that, let's take you now to Newswatch of Eugene Z for this morning. It's a sign of resilience or resignation. That's a question. Battle weary Bamenda ranked cheapest town in Cameroon to live in. How do you see that?
Larry, at least there's a quote in Pidgin. In Pidgin they say Maui David Gauni here again for 4.
Okay.
Just to say that at a certain level, at a certain state, you're not afraid again of anything because you're already at your worst. Now the situation in Bamenda over the years has deteriorated. It has left from bad to worse, and every day we keep hearing it. Now for the city still to be ranked for its ironical,
the
because
cheapest to live in.
We're looking at with the coming of instead the I don't know if you call it insecurity. Now, and businesses do not operate too frequently. We have recently a curfew was instituted by the SDO for Mezam, and with a counter operation by non-state actors, and it's been very tough over there. All of these things should have made prices to skyrocket because we in a war situation, definitely, especially foodstuffs, get to be very expensive since people do not have enough time to go to the farms. People are trying to look for safety. Transportation should be on the rise, but it's instead it's tricky, ironical to see that prices are a little bit moderate than in Bamenda, than even a place like Limbe. I was in Limbe over the weekend, and in fact, prices are, and we don't know. I can't really say for sure how this happens because and it's just to be grateful to God for those in Bamenda, because I can imagine with the present economic situation in Bamenda, if prices were to go up, it will be another challenge which the population will not be able to fathom. Would have many more people who may even die, because people might end up dying of hunger if prices should really go up, because a lot of things, living in Bamenda is already so difficult. When in December, when I was going down to Bamenda, these people who sell traditional medicine, he was just in a fun mood, and the man said, for the past 7 years,
they're always in the buses.
He said, you're buying bread to go and give your relative in Bamenda. Nobody has told you that for the past 7 years, nobody has drank tea from that the heat from the gun, no one is able to take anything hot.
Yeah.
And that was just for fun. But as well, and I think that to keep these prices as well low, on the other side of the coin, it's good, but it's a little challenging.
Okay.
Because it as well shows that the town is not growing. Some might
Yeah,
be
static.
of that opinion that it is static, but we all understand what is happening in Bamenda.
Yeah.
And the basic thing in Bamenda perhaps now is just to survive. And as well, I think maybe the strategies which are being put in place in such a town to ensure that these prices are stabilized, it should be a note for studies for maybe, I don't know, the economist or whoever, to tell us how this functions, such that some of our cities could in one way or another put those schemes or mechanisms such that our prices do not escalate so much like they already
Okay.
are.
All right. So we move away from Bamenda being the cheapest town to live in Cameroon for now, according to a survey or studies that was carried out on that said stuff. We take you now to Horizon. Horizon newspaper for this morning talks of the Delegate General for National Security, Matemba Gagile, says his entire life has been dedicated to saving the nation, even at age 92. You see the gentleman there, he's 92, just 8 years to make him a century, but he's quite vibrant, strong, he can run, his teeth are intact, he reads without lenses, and he can run from here to, he can run from Limbe to Mutengene.
Oh, Larry!
Of course, I'm being serious. This is a gentleman. I had this interview with him some months back, and
Okay.
Though it was in French, but he was really quite up to it, and I was really marveled to see quite a vibrant gentleman there, 92,
Wow.
and his entire life has been dedicated to saving the police department.
It's good to see at such an age him being still in vibrant, serviceable, but it's worrisome all the same.
Yeah.
At that age, you'd not want to go and be with your grandchildren, maybe
Your
cater
wife.
your banana plantation with your cocoa farms or something, because yes, there's a lot of things which you could keep on doing and which will maybe physical exercises and the rest which will keep you still living that long, not necessarily it's good to see him strong.
Yeah.
And to see as well on the other side, such a person was offered his life serving the
nation.
people of Cameroon. And I think to an instance he's a very rich source of information, especially for the police, because with someone who has gone through so much, he's seen the country at its best and at its worst.
Yeah.
He's been able to gather so many tactics when it concerns criminality and everything, and so much when it concerns policing. I think as well he's a rich source for that institution to make use of him while he is available. And of course it's a big thank you maybe for his service to the nation.
And he was there before the country even gets independent.
Yeah,
Got
so
independent.
he might have even been part of the Second World War.
Yeah, kind of 1945. All right, we'll move away from the police boss in Cameroon, Matemba Gangele, to talk something else. With the Punch newspaper all the way from Lagos, the Punch to report on Dangote fuel. Marketers fear high price petrol ahead of supply. We are talking of the richest black man in the world, Aliko Dangote, who is just coming from commissioning his refinery. That's the biggest refinery in Africa for now, and the first shipment of his petroleum products will be out. So marketers in Nigeria are afraid of an imminent increase in the price of petroleum-related products if the Dangote refineries finally goes operational.
Well, first of all, Dangote is getting into every facet of life, and every little thing you'd hear Dangote. That's I think Africa is represented somehow on the global stage in terms of not only being looked at as the poorest and everything. this whole issue of foil supply and now the approach of Dangote into it, Larry, I think to an extent anyway, it's not only it's not only his industry, if I should call it that way, which determines the price. Some of these prices are issues which he might be a major supplier, which might affect, but as well there are other factors which come on board generally from the global market and all of that. As well, think that there should be a role that such people should be able to play because of the amount of money, the amount of shares they have in the market to bring down the prices such that it can be favorable for for the common man and for Africans. You know, Nigeria is one country which recently we've had tremendous hikes in prices, and it's not been funny, and the people of Nigeria have been on the streets. They've been protesting, they've been raising concerns towards the rise in foil prices. I think such individuals should be able to, maybe in one way or another, ensure that prices either go a little downwards or stabilize such that everyone can freely live and have livelihood.
All right, Chebuzi, it was a pleasure having you on set.
Thank you so much, Larry, for bringing me on board, and to some other time, happy July.
Happy month of July, and happy month of July to everyone. Thanks so much for being with us, being our companion right up to these final moments that we'll be wrapping up and packing our bags out of the studio. But catch the same appointment tomorrow, 9 a.m. Cameroon time. From me and the entire crew, it's a blessed stay in the company of High Television. Good day.